All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and do this Harry Potter effect. So let's get to it. It's pretty easy to do, actually. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do it. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to want a clean plate. So we'll go ahead and drag this into a new comp. Make sure there's nothing there. That looks good. And then you're going to drag in the other footage, which is going to be walking in. I kind of do like a little jump right there. So I'm going to start it about right there, maybe about right here. I'm going to go ahead and cut the clip. So before that and then after. Obviously there's a little bit of lighting difference because of the shadow, but we'll figure that out. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut it again. And really, I'm just going to work with this part right here. And there's a lot of different ways you can do it. Probably the fastest way is going to be using the roto brush tool and go ahead and adjust your brush size so that it's bigger. Oh, the other thing that you'll want to do is you want to make sure that if you are not in full resolution, to go to full resolution before you go back in here to roto brush. And now that I've done that, I'm going to go in and go ahead and just kind of highlight. And if you haven't used the roto brush tool before, it's okay. I can do a tutorial on how to do that. Going to go ahead and hit freeze because I'm okay with that. Again, it's going to happen so fast, so don't get hung up if it's not perfect, because really it's going to go right into the next clip right after that. Okay, so now that I have that, I'm going to go back to the composition and goes right into here. So now I'm basically just popping in. So from here, go ahead and click the button. There I am. Okay, I'm happy with that. So the next part is actually pretty easy. You can manually do this or you can download a graphic. So if you don't want to spend the time going through and using the puppet tool and spinning yourself around and doing all of that crazy stuff to animate and then duplicate and add a radial blur, the best thing you could do is download a graphic, and there's this footage. So like this footage is downloaded from Video Crate, I believe, and I'll put the link in the description, but basically you could just drop that right on top of what we're doing, and then you can see it's kind of like right there. So it's pretty easy. Obviously it's not as big as it needs to be, so we'll just hit S and then we'll scale it up a little bit, and we'll have it about right there. So now if I were to do this, that's pretty good. Now there's some stuff right here where the feet are and stuff like that. It doesn't look great, and that's the whole reason why I did roto brush anyway, because I am going to put a couple pins here, and I'm going to go ahead and turn on transparency, and then I'm going to get to about right here. Actually, I'm going to turn it on right here. Let's just delete this puppet tool. I'm going to get it to right here and click a couple of these. And then I'm going to go back. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I'm going to just kind of move like my sound effect and make sure you hit transparent so that it does the transparency. But there you go. I'm kind of like whooshing around. And as you go forward, there you go, a couple little things, and you can really get more in depth with this if you want to. I'm probably just going to do a radial blur and find that radial blur, put that on there, and we'll do the amount quite a bit in the beginning, go down to here, and we'll do 0. So, and then the other thing is on this. Let's go ahead and just render it, see how it looks. So that gives you a little bit of movement. And you can, if you really want, you could duplicate this a couple times, but with this other graphic, it actually is not really necessary. So you can see now that actually makes more sense. A couple things, we want to change the color of this. So in order to change the color, we're going to do color, if I can spell, change to color. Go ahead and drop that on there. I'm going to get rid of this red and we're going to change it to like a blue. And you can just use the slider to kind of move that around. That looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and drag another change to color on here. And I'm going to go with this brown and I'm going to change it to another color, probably more of a darker color. So maybe somewhere around there. I'm trying to match more of like my jeans or something like that. So let's go kind of a lighter blue. And then I'm just going to adjust the hue here a little bit, and I'm going to adjust the hue on this one as well. That'll give me kind of that darker look. And then I'm going to drop the lightness down, saturation. I'm going to bring that down too. Let's see what happens here. And again, a lot of this you just kind of have to mess with. But that looks pretty good. Okay. So I'm happy with the way that looks. Now I'm going to go ahead and render it out and see how it looks. It looks good enough. So now I've got this and I'm moving forward. I still think I might make that just a little bigger. And then maybe move it up just a tad. So let's see how this looks. Yeah, that's pretty good. Now you can also make a little shadow if you want by duplicating this layer, and then we'll move it underneath. And then I'm going to go ahead and do a hue and saturation, drag that onto this layer, and I'm just going to colorize it. Actually, I'm not going to colorize it. I'm just going to drop the saturation down. Oh, and we probably want to see what it looks like. And then I'm also going to turn this into a 3D layer so that when I do the transform, I can actually have the position and rotation the way that I need it to be, which I want it to be kind of flat against the wall or against the ground there. So kind of like that. We'll push it down a little bit. I'm going to zoom in so you can see it a little bit better. And then I'm also going to turn on the opacity to way low, maybe somewhere around there. And then it should sync up with what I did, which it does. You can see it kind of moving right there. And that kind of helps sell the effect. So there we go. And then the only thing we really need to do now is we just need some sound design. Again, if you don't want to waste time trying to make up sounds, there is sound effects that you can use on this Video Crate website. I'll put the link in there so that you can see it. But basically, I'm just going to turn on this audio, turn on the waveform so I can see kind of when. And then I'm just going to make sure that I line this up with, turn this down, and then I'm going to just line this up with about kind of right there. I'm doing this in 4K. Probably should have done it in something a little less than that, but cool. I'm happy with it. That's how you do that, guys. And then you could do some color correction. You could do some LUTs or whatever to adjust it. But this is essentially how you do that Harry Potter apparition effect. It's pretty fun, pretty cool. You could do a lot of things with it. This is obviously too long now, so we're going to have to do some stuff, but that's how you do it.